Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the IRB Invit call hosted by the company for discussing the financial results for Q2 FY22. We have with us on the call today Mr. Vinod K. Menon, Mr. Anil Yadav, Mr. Rishabh Gandhi, and Ms. Swapna Vengurlekar from IRB Invit team. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and after the opening remarks by the management, there will be a question and answer session. Please note that the duration of the call will be 45 minutes, and any queries left unanswered after the call can be subsequently mailed to the management for adequate response and resolution. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand over the conference to Mr. Menon to give you an overview of the significant development during the quarter. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
A very good morning to all. I am Vinod K. Menon. I would like to welcome all the investors and analysts on this call. Hope you have reviewed our detailed numbers as well as the presentation. As you know, we are distributing 2.2 rupees per unit as against 1.8 rupees per unit done last quarter. In spite of the recent second wave of pandemic, the economy seems to have embarked on the recovery path, with most sectors recording improved performance. We have seen gradual revival in the toll numbers on the backdrop of improved economic recovery, increased pace of vaccination, and decline in the fresh COVID-19 cases. Improved economic activities in the second quarter of the ongoing fiscal year will spur growth momentum for the road sector in the coming quarters. We have observed that the festive season has started on a good note, and we have started witnessing an uptick in the traffic movement already, providing comfort and traction for the coming quarters. The bounce back in the toll collections is evident from the recovery in the passenger vehicles and the commercial vehicles, reflecting on the slide 15 of the corporate presentation. Across the projects, we have witnessed approximately 21.5% growth YOY for Q2 FY22, after excluding Pathankot Amritsar project, where tolling is temporarily halted due to the farmers' protest. For the portfolio, the numbers would have been much stronger had this Pathankot Amritsar project also contributed to the same. Due to the ongoing farmers' protest, tolling for the project has been halted since last October beginning. In line with NHAI circular and the provisions of the concession agreement, the company has filed for compensation with NHAI. The claim is currently under review with NHAI headquarters and expected to be received shortly. Our per day collections have improved to over rupees 4.5 crores for the quarter ended September 2020, even without any contribution from APBOT, as compared to rupees 4.04 crores per day for the quarter ended September 2020. We have received toll rate revision in Jaipur Devli, Pathankot Amritsar, Tumkur Chitradurga, and Talegaon Amravati projects at the rate 3.9% applicable from April 1st, 2021. Bharuch Surat rate revision was to the tune of 7.9% applicable from July 1st, 2021. Surat Dahisar and FER rate revision applicable from September 1st, 2021 was to the tune of 1.31% and 7.9% respectively. With a high single-digit GDP forecast, we expect to deliver around 10 to 12% growth in the revenue for FY22 in spite of the soft collection in Q1. With respect to the addition of assets to our InvIT, one of the sponsor assets is expected to be completed shortly. Thereafter, this hybrid annuity model asset would be eligible for transfer to the InvIT subject to requisite approvals. Considering the previous year trend, the second half of the fiscal year seems to be promising, leading to a strong generation of cash flows, which along with the compensation for Amritsar Pathankot project on account of the farmers' protest will lead to a higher distribution for FY22 than rupees 8.5 per unit undertaken for FY21. With this, I would now request Mr. Rishabh Gandhi to take you through the financial performance for the quarter and the year. Over to you, Mr. Rishabh.
Thank you, sir. I would like to present the financial analysis for the current quarter with the corresponding quarter of previous year. The total consolidated income for the current quarter has increased to rupees 328 crores from rupees 296 crores in the corresponding quarter of the previous year, that is September 20. The consolidated toll revenue for the current quarter has increased to rupees 313 crores from rupees 288 crores in the corresponding quarter of previous year. EBITDA has increased to 269 crores in the current quarter from rupees 239 crores in the corresponding quarter of previous year. Interest cost, which includes the interest on premium deferment for the current quarter, September 21, has decreased to 36 crore from 37 crore in September 20. Depreciation for the current quarter has increased to 156 crore from 153 crore in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. The profit after tax for the current quarter has increased to rupees 73 crore as compared to 49 crore in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. I would now request the moderator to open the session for Q&A.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star and 1. The first question is from the line of Dheeraj Dave from Samvad Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for
Mr. Dave, we are not able to hear you. Can you speak a bit loud, please?
Thanks a lot. Sorry. Thanks a lot for increased distribution. So one question I had basically is what is the kind of normally repair expenditure we need to do, major capex as well as the routine capex kind of it? Is there something which you can give some indication about road repairs on all our assets, 6 assets together?
So basically, with regard to the road repair, typically after 5 years or 6 years, you are required to do a major maintenance. And if we look at the life horizon of asset over 15 years, typically that translates around 13 to 15% of the total toll collection. And we have, since we have signed a fixed price contract for balance 10 years, so our 10 years O&M price, whatever the valuation report we submit in the public domain, that consists of the O&M detail for each project, and that is available in the public domain.
Okay, but if you can give some ballpark numbers for all 6 assets, again, it can be average of 3 years or something, whatever you feel, but it's not possible?
It's very much possible. We had a total toll revenue for this quarter of around 326 crore rupees, and EBITDA was 270 crores. Then maintenance was roughly 50 to 60 crore rupees.
50 to 60 crore rupees. And this would be every quarter kind of it. One project would require major, another. So over a period of time, it would be around 50 to 60 crore. Yeah. So that's helpful. Secondly, sir, we have said in notes to account, in the Amritsar Pathankot, we recognize claim of 80.21 crore in 6 months ended September 30th. So have we received cash for same, or is the same thing which you given in your opening remark that you have already initiated? So is it accrual booking or is it a cash receipt? 80.21 crore if we have booked for, this is point 5 on page 5 of account.
Yes. So basically, just to draw your attention, the toll collection for Amritsar Pathankot was suspended since October 2020 due to ongoing farmer agitation.
Okay.
And till the last quarter, we have not booked any income. And during the end of the last quarter, NHAI has issued a circular stating that this event will fall under indirect political event.
Okay.
And as defined in the concession agreement, we are eligible for 50% of interest and O&M as a reimbursement and extension in the concession period so that to keep NPV neutral because of this loss. Considering there was
that is the amount which you have considered, right? 80 crore is something interest plus 50% of interest and O&M, right? That's what it is considered?
Yes.
Yeah. Sir, one more question if I may squeeze, then that's the last one. Sir, we are given to secured advances were given around 154 crore during 6 months to the IRB IDL and we received back 148 crore. You know reason why we means is it they are doing project maintenance work, but any specific reason to extend the loan?
See, there is no loan extended per se because of if in some projects there is a periodic maintenance. To mobilize the sites, it's a typical tendency in the construction job. Basically, extend the mobilization advance. And sometimes it is mobilization advance is interest free, but in our case, it's secured against their material, and we charge 10% interest on the same. So basically, and as and when the billing starts, then that same is getting recovered. And this is the consistent practice over the period of time from last 3 or 4 years of even the trust listing. And this is the general business phenomena for any construction company.
Yeah. Only point was that last year we have something like near around 150 crore for full year. This year in 6 months only we find 155 crore. So that was, if you can throw some light why there was significant jump. Is it that rainfall resulted in a higher requirement of repair or something?
It's related to major maintenance only.
Okay, fine. Thanks a lot. Wish you all the best. And sir, we will request if you can increase the distribution because I believe that you are still waiting for Surat Daisar things to stabilize. But I would request if you can increase the distribution whenever it comes. And wish you all the luck, sir. Thanks for answering the question.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, we would like to inform participants to please limit their questions to 2 per participant. Our next question is from the line of Satinder Bedi from Eon Investments. Please go ahead.
Good morning and congratulations for a good set of numbers. I've got 2 questions. One related to the Pathankot Amritsar project. The other is for the Jaipur Deoli. And one suggestion thereafter, quick please. So regarding Pathankot Amritsar, so what we see is that in 1Q the income book was 70 crores. In this quarter the income book is only about 10 crores. I understand that 70 crores would be from October onwards. So we are talking typically 3 quarters getting booked there, okay. But this 10 crore does not seem to be for a full quarter. So we want to understand on the basis of the compensation formula, what is the quarterly run rate which is expected? Is it 10 crores? Is it 15 crores? Is it 20 crores? Because 10 crore seems to be a undershoot. 70 crores for 3 quarters, I don't know whether that was right. So if you could help clarify this please, because 70 to 10 is somehow one is not able to reconcile. Regarding the formula, it was, so is it 100% of interest plus 50% of O&M? And or is it 100% of interest plus 50% of O&M over the insurance cover? Okay, so the excess over the insurance cover, if you can clarify this also. This 80 crores question was asked earlier. So is this 80 crores received or not received? Okay, and if not received, is this a part of the 94 crores of non-cash income which is getting shown? And if it has not been received, then how is the interest of 70 crores which has been paid by PA to the trust? How has that been financed? Okay, because there's no change in the borrowings of PA from the trust otherwise. So that's regarding the PA, please.
So basically, to address your question with regard to the Amritsar Pathankot, as you rightly mentioned, during the last quarter, we have recognized for almost 9 to 10 months, income. Last quarter, basically, whatever the amount was coming for the 9 to 10 months, we have recognized in the last quarter. And this quarter, it was only for 3 months. And before the closure of the toll plaza, Amritsar Pathankot was collecting close to 35 to 36 lakhs per day. So that was translating 10 to 11 crore rupees of collection per month. And on a quarterly basis, that translates 30 to 35 crore rupees of collection. But the compensation is not linked with the collection. And compensation is basically 50% of interest and O&M. As that was your another question. And with regard to the compensation, so far we have not received the compensation. That is, as our CEO has already explained, that is pending at highest level at NHAI. We are expecting to hear from them very soon.
Okay, fine. And how has this been then funded? Because 70 crores of interest has been paid, to the trust, It forms a part of the trust income. Only Tumkur Chitradurga interest income is not included, That's cash not received, but 70 crores has been received as part of the cash in the trust, So how has that been financed once you are not getting the money? Without changing the loan from the trust to the SPV?
So basically, with respect to the funding of the interest cost, Tumkur Chitradurga is not getting funded because there is embargo on the escrow account itself. But in Pathankot, there is no embargo on the escrow account. And whatever the other SPVs are generating a surplus, those are extending a short-term loan to the Pathankot, and the Pathankot paying their interest.
Okay, right. Thank you. Regarding Jaipur Deoli, the EBITDA as a percentage of total income seems to be much lower than for other typical projects. So if you could kindly explain as to what is causing this leakage from the total income to EBITDA. Is it only that there was some abnormal maintenance this time, or what is it?
I don't think so. That's basically all the project will be apple to apple comparison will not be there. For example, Surat Dahisar is 240 kilometers, and the toll collection there basically on per quarter basis it's roughly 92 to 100 crore rupees. But in Jaipur Deoli, it's 144 kilometers, and toll collection is only 17 crores. But we are required to maintain the entire stretch of 144. So the PCU on the Jaipur Deoli as compared to some of the other projects are on lower side, and some of the Surat Dahisar and some of the other projects are matured projects. So there the PCU has already increased. So in the Jaipur Deoli also, when we reach to fag end of the concession, at that time the EBITDA of the Jaipur Deoli will also increase.
Right, sir. And Jaipur Deoli seems to be struggling. The traffic is lower than it was 4 years ago. So even pre-COVID, we've not come back to those levels. So what is your sense of the challenges that the project is facing, and how do you see that recovering going forward?
Basically, Jaipur Deoli project, if I will compare September 19 with September 21, we have seen double-digit kind of growth. So each year the growth was 6 to 7% on the project corridor. Definitely, before the September 19 itself, there was, because of some mining restriction, there was lower traffic on Jaipur Deoli. For that, the project is eligible to get 5 years extension in the concession period. And as now the slowly mines is starting now, and we expect the toll collection to further improve.
Right, sir. Thank you. Congratulations once again on a very fine set of numbers. I got a question more. I'll come back in the queue in case there's time. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Shreyans Mehta from Shree Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So this is about Bharuch Surat and Surat Dahisar section. Firstly, the time period which is mentioned in the presentation is up to May or June 2022. Just wanted to know, is there any anticipated extension to that, or this is the final as on date?
That is after considering the anticipated extension.
Sorry?
So this date provided is after considering the anticipated extension of concession period.
All right. Secondly, in this price revision which has come along, there is a huge difference between these two sections of the toll roads. One about for Bharuch Surat, it is about 7.8% revision that we got, and Surat Dahisar we've got just about 1.3%. Can you explain the difference, such a huge difference between the two?
See, Surat Dahisar, the WPI is for the average for the entire year, and Bharuch Surat and MVR is WPI on a particular day. So since towards the end of the year, WPI has increased, so we have got a healthy revision in MVR and Bharuch Surat. But Surat Dahisar being average for the entire year, there the rate revision was on a lower side.
And obviously the rate revisions happen only once in a year, so the next revision will come only after a year. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Lastly, on both these sections, there is very little debt remaining. And hence, I was wondering in what form or how the repayment from these two sections to the company will change in the time to come, and how it will correspondingly affect the distribution to shareholders or unit holders in form of whether it will be interest, capital repayment or dividend, especially the money which will be flowing from these two sections.
So basically, with respect to the bank loan, we don't have external debt on Surat Dahisar or Bharuch Surat, or neither of the SPV. All 7 SPVs are debt free. We have debt at trust level only to the tune of 1400 crores plus. And with respect to whatever the loan is extended by the trust, that will get repaid during the over period of one and a half years, whatever the concession is left out. Now coming to the distribution, basically if you look at Bharuch Surat or Surat Dahisar, out of 2,000, close to 270 crores of EBITDA, the Bharuch Surat and Surat Dahisar contribution basically would have been in range of around 150 crores of EBITDA would have been contributed. So then definitely there will be a reduction once those projects gets basically handed over back to the NHAI. And as in our opening call also, we have discussed that the payout will get reduced, what we are paying as of now, once those projects goes out of the balance sheet of the company.
Yeah, thanks, but my question was not pertaining to that. I was referring to the outstanding debt to trust from both these sections, which has come down to about 34 and 20 crores respectively. And hence, when this, the toll flow which continues to come in up to the date of handing over or end of concession period, the toll collection which will be coming on these two sections will get transferred to the trust. Obviously, first as a part of outstanding debt which will be repaid, and then subsequent or significant amount which is surplus will come to the trust as just income. Is that correct understanding? And then will that affect the nature of distribution to the unit holders, whether in form of...
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. So whatever the distribution will happen post the interest and the capital repayment, that will be in form of dividend to the extent of the profit generated in those two SPVs.
And since these two SPVs are possibly contributing the highest, more than 50% of our total revenue at this point of time, can we expect some part of next distribution as dividend then?
Yes, probably in this year we will pay some dividend.
Fine. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the very best.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Rishabh Sher Dalal from Praveen Ratilal Shares and Brokers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Just first question pertaining to the new asset acquisition that you have been talking about for the last 2 or 3 quarters. So one, you have already said that one of the sponsor asset, that is a HAM asset, will be received. So just wanted to understand what kind of impact will it have on the distribution once this asset is received. And I'm sure that once Surat Dahisar and Bharuch Surat go away, I think there'll be a big hit on our distribution. So how do you actually plan to cope up that hit and ensure that we at least pay a distribution of close to 7.5 rupees to 8 rupees per unit as distribution? So what is exactly the thought of the management on the acquisition of this new asset? Because I think we have been talking about this acquisition for quite some time now, and as far as investor community is concerned, we have not really received any kind of updates on what the management is planning to do. So if you can clarify the situation, that's my first question.
Basically, as we have discussed in previous calls also, because of the COVID, we were not able to acquire any of the assets because we were also not certain that how the things will pan out post the COVID scenario. So considering that, we have not acquired any toll asset. And as one of the sponsor asset is HAM asset, where basically you have a clarity that fixed revenue will be coming from the NHAI, we are planning to acquire that particular asset subject to unit holders approval. Now, coming to the distribution, even after the Surat Dahisar and Bharuch Surat goes off, considering that now there is spurt in the traffic, we expect that the revenue will grow in range of around 11 to 12%. And these two assets are with us for another almost a year. And for next year also, the payout will happen from these assets only. And post FY 23 also, considering by that time the revenue of the other project would have been increased, and we expect to pay minimum 7 to 8 rupees in the post this project goes out of our books.
Okay, but just like to know a clarification from your end that you have said that these assets will be there in our portfolio for coming year. But if I read the investor presentation, they say that April and May 22. So I think we have just 2 quarters from where we'll be getting the revenue from Surat Dahisar and Bharuch Surat. So I think after 2 quarters, what is exact, and one of our projects has not been functioning, not generating a single rupee of revenue for a considerable period of time, Pathankot Amritsar. So I really fail to understand that what kind of a traffic growth will it be really able to compensate for the 55 to 60% of the distribution that is coming just from the 2 assets? And also, what about the other assets that you have been planning to acquire? Because I think our debt equity ratio is pretty low. I think we can even get debts at very cheap levels for a company like you, which have a AAA rated. I think you can get that at a very cheaper level. So what exactly are you planning on acquiring new assets? That's what I want to understand.
Basically, with respect to how the things will pan out once this project goes off in next financial year, there will be some retention of amount by end of this financial year. So that will be also used to pay out in the next financial year. Secondly, with regard to exact how the cash flow will pan out, I will request you to go through the valuation report which is done by the independent valuer. And from there you can make out what is the cash flow we are generating and how the payment will happen to the unit holder, what kind of surplus is generated. Now, as you rightly mentioned that our debt are only 25% of our EV, hardly 20-25% of our EV, and we have another room for around 4,500 crores to raise and acquire the asset. So our thought process is basically at least add 1 or 2 assets every year. Probably considering the HAM assets are low risk asset, and since the economy is recovering, so we will have a 5 assets where the weighted average life will be around 15 to 16 years. So we will get a growth also coming out of this 5 assets, and plus we will acquire another 4 or 5 HAM assets over the period of 2 to 3 years, so that it will be a blended portfolio where we will be getting a fixed kind of annuity from the HAM asset, and the upside from the growth which will be coming from the toll assets.
No, that is true. That is true. I understand that. But what I am trying to say is that we have been talking about acquiring 4 to 5 HAM assets in the coming 2 3 years for quite some time now. So as on date, any assets that you have been actually anticipating to get in your portfolio, and at what stage of the process are we in the process of getting those assets, and what is your actual method of bringing new assets and analyzing them before bringing new assets into the portfolio? So where are we actually? Because I think as investors we are very much since last 4 years we have not added a single asset in our portfolio. So where are we actually in acquiring those assets? At what stage? Let's say you have select 4 assets, then at what stage will they actually come in our portfolio?
Basically, in last 4 years, we have only added one Amritsar Pathankot project to the portfolio, and because last 2 years there was hardly any activity in the M&A side, and we were also not certain what will the impact of the COVID will happen on the overall economy and even on the project. And now the thought process behind, basically, in fact, in the past we have discussed, we have evaluated some of the toll assets also, and because those were not meeting our criteria, that the past growth was not adequate, hence we were not able to add those assets to the portfolio. And whenever we want to add, our thought process is that the asset should not be yield destructive to the unit holder. It should be basically either adding to the payout to the unit holder from the day one. So for that, HAM asset will be the ideal asset to add, where you typically get a fixed payout over the entire concession period, and accordingly in the initial year also there will not be a cash leakage from the trust level. So that is the thought process. And as we have discussed, we have one asset which will be ready by the sponsor within a couple of months, and that will be available for our evaluation. And post our evaluation, we will put for the voting to the unit holder.
But apart from that sponsor's asset, are there any other assets in the pipeline that you are evaluating and that may come into the portfolio, by April or May of 2022, or is there no such plan at the moment?
We are on timely basis. We are evaluating the third-party assets also, but none of the asset, most of the assets were only till the drawing board. And basically none of the assets where we have reached to a conclusion where we can put for the board or for the approval and other stuff. The moment we will reach to that particular level, then only we will be able to share much details on the same.
Okay. And just one small question pertaining to your the compensation that you expect to receive from NHAI for Pathankot Amritsar. So if you can, I am sure you must have internally discussed on some kind of amount that you expect to receive. So what would that compensation amount be?
I think that is already at NHAI level. Once we get a final confirmation from the NHAI, we will share that amount with you.
Okay. But I think your numbers are improving, but what I feel is that, there are pension funds that are investing into other InvITs. So I think what we need to do is, if we have such a good business plan in hand, we need to actually try and acquire more assets and become more aggressive, so that, such big institutions can, invest in our InvIT also. That's a small request from from myself to the management. I am sure you will consider it.
Definitely, we will consider it. And just to share with you, from the 3 or 4 years of listing, we have evaluated more than 10 to 15 assets. And most of the assets initial, because we are from the road industry and we don't want to acquire road beyond the project beyond the road sector. And because we have evaluated some of the toll projects where because in last 2-3 years growth was not adequate, some projects were having some other challenges, and we thought basically let's not basically compromise return to the unit holder, and that was one of the main reason why we have not added the asset. HAM basically asset has started started getting completed. Even the third party assets are also on advanced stage of the completion, and within the next couple of years almost 40 to 50 good HAM asset will get completed from the third parties also. So that will be the time when the trust should aggressively look to acquire the HAM asset, because there was some or other issue with the traffic growth and other stuff. We have not acquired the toll asset.
Because I'm really concerned about the once the Surat Dahisar and Bharuch Surat assets go away, then I feel that we might. I'm really concerned about it. So I just tried and expressed my concern. I'm sure you are considering, and then you will come out with acquisition very soon.
No. We can understand your concern. Even we are also, our thought process is also to add the asset. But even with the 5 assets with the InvIT, even once the Surat Dahisar Bharuch Surat way goes off the table, that time also the NAV of the trust will be around 90-95 rupees. And basically payout or IRR at 100 rupees will be over the life of the asset. IRR will not be less than 10% at 100 rupees. Or on a 58 rupees, which is the trading price as of now, the IRR will be upwards of 18%. But we are cognizant that we should add the asset, but we want to add asset which are much less riskier. Accordingly, we will try to add the HAM asset.
So even after the assets Surat Dahisar and Bharuch Surat go away, would you be able to distribute 7 rupees per unit the distribution? Considering the growth that you have seen, I think your valuation report states that, but will you be actually able to do it?
Basically, on the 11 to 12% kind of assumptions of revenue growth, we should be able to do that.
Okay. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Dhwanit C, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. First of all, congratulations on the results of this quarter. My first question is with regards to the distribution. I think so till now for this current year we have done around 4 rupees of distribution. I wanted to know by the end of this year how much kind of a distribution are we aiming, and I know obviously it can't be something and in line with what it is with 2019 levels. Where will we reach? Secondly, I was just going through the presentation. I can see that you have mentioned that there are the dates where the concession period is ending is based on our expectations. Can you tell us that can these dates by when can these dates be actually known to us? That for example, the Amritsar Pathankot, we have assumed that there will be an extension by a year. So by can we get an exact idea of how much extension and how much compensation are we getting on that? Thank you.
Basically, I think you have talked about projected distribution for this financial year. So as in the last quarter con call, we have said that we will try to better the payout what we did in FY21, in FY22. With regard to the extension of the concession period, basically based on the concession agreement, we are eligible for 20% extension in the concession period if we are not able to meet the target traffic. And based on that, we have considered the extension, because in Amritsar Pathankot project already the target traffic date is already over, and I has already conducted a survey, and based on the survey count, we are eligible for 20% of the extension.
Okay, but this is 20% of the extension after the event ends. Currently, the event is still in progress, right? I mean, the route is still not operational, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, and all the best for the.
So, sorry to intervene. Route is operational. Toll collection is stopped.
Okay. So, that is still considered as an exceptional event, right?
Yes. So there basically there will be additional extension will be available, and the cash compensation as we have discussed in earlier question also.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, and all the best for the coming quarters. Hopefully, for me and all the other unit holders, we can do much better unit distribution at least compared to the last year. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, that was the last question. I now hand over the conference to Mr. Menon for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you all the analysts and investors on today's call. It was indeed a fruitful discussion. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, members of management. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your conference call for today. We thank you for your participation and for using Research Bytes conferencing services. You may disconnect your lines now. Thank you and have a great day.